using to get through to today's edition. As always, you will be able to call us on 0950 9479, 0950 9479, and you can also utilize 0977624270. I am your host on this very platform. My name is Eugene Lungu. We're going to be together for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes of nothing but, of course, interesting, conversation right here on live radio. Not alone in the studios this morning. I'm actually joined by my guest who's coming in from the United Party for National Development. He is also an aspiring candidate for Kabushi, yes, and of course, not a stranger on this very platform, I must add. I do have Mr. Anthony Walia as my guest today. Delighted to have you on the program, Mr. Walia. Good morning.
Eugene, thank you very much for having us. We are delighted to be here and thankful, as always. We need to emphasize, as we've always and often done, not just to yourself, but several other media platforms, that every time you make way for us to come through, this is not, we're not doing this for the Upnd or even President Hakainde Hichilema. There are bigger stakes on the table at the moment. We have a country to redeem, because everybody now has woken up to what has been the failed and toxic leadership of the PF. And every time we come onto a platform such as this one, we are actually representing the 17 million Zambians, many of whom voices continue to go unheard. And we want to give them an opportunity to be heard and for them to hear that there is a different country which is possible in our land under a different political leadership to be provided by the UPND and President Hakainde Hichilema. We have a crucial year next year, 2021. A huge amount is hinging on that insofar as our future prospects, collective prospects as a people and as a country, depend entirely on the decision that we're going to make at the ballot next year. This is going to be much more and still continues to be even much, much bigger than the UPND and President Hakainde. This is why today we decided to come with our colleague, Chela Tukuta, because Chela, like many other Zambians, believes that it is no longer good enough to say that one loves this country and its people. And yet, even when we owe them a voice, we choose to either remain on the fringes in silence with our arms folded and refuse to speak up and take the side of the people. This is why Chela is here today. Chela is just one of the 17 million Zambians who owe this country and its people a voice of reason.
Nice.
Whatever decision Chela has made today, and whatever decision Chela will make in the days to come, the years to come, it is history that is going to look upon him and make a judgment around the decisions which Chela is making. The same way that history will look upon me and my own around the decisions that we're making on account of the love and passion that we have for this country and its people. And this is why today we decided to come with Chela, so that he, like many others, can share his story of passion and love for his country, the same passion that has driven him to stand with and for the people. And at the moment, it is fair to say that the UPND is representative voice of the people. The UPND is only a platform of engagement, but the love and passion that we all have and should demonstrate for our country must be similar to what Chela has done. Like there's so many people who have gone before us right now. The country is in a period of mourning. We just lost an incredible human being, Comrade Gray Zulu, who served within the same ranks as Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, putting everything on the line for himself and his family to ensure that this country got the independence and the liberation that we absolutely needed in 1964. Zambia now, much more than ever, Eugene, needs a new generation and crop of freedom fighters to put their bodies, their families, their businesses, their voices on the line and say, we are going to lay it all on the line for the love of this country and its people. And this is why Chela is here, and we think that it's important that he shares his story, because his story is reminiscent of country that needs to be heard, and they must be heard. But in order for those voices to people and stand with the people under what is clearly and are very difficult moments and times in our country. So I will make way for Chela to speak for himself, share his story, and we'll take it from there.
All right.
So I'll make way for Chela for now.
All right, fantastic. So I must say, yes, like you've likely heard, our dear listener, in the studios, I do have two guests today. Okay, my first is, of course, Anthony Walia, who is the member of the United Party for National Development. And of course, I do have also Zambia's renowned, photographer, Chela Tukuta, who is also a member of the United Party for National Development. Mr. Tukuta, I'm delighted to have you here.
Oh, thank you very much. It's nice to be on live radio.
Great.
Yeah, and thanks to the listeners for tuning in.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. So now I think we'll start our discussion like this.
Yeah.
I mean, people know of you, but of course, maybe they would want to backtrack a bit and get to know a little bit more about you, especially when it comes to issues of politics. I think just recently, when people saw you, coming into the political arena and getting to also voice out on matters to do with just the nation at large. Let's get into that as we kickstart the discussion here.
Yeah. You see, the thing first things first is that politics affects everyone.
All right.
Whether you're a civil servant, whether you're a partisan, whether you're a partisan, whatever sphere, whatever aspect of life you are, politics affects you.
Sure.
Because politicians are decision makers. They are policy makers. They make policies. They decide which direction we are going. You understand? So, a lot of people, misunderstand the term politics, because the kind of politicians that we have allowed to rule this country are dirty politicians, and we have accepted dirty politics. Do you understand? So this is the more reason why people don't want to associate themselves with politics, even when they are suffering, even when things are going wrong, because they think politics is a dirty game, because of the kind of politics we have allowed ourselves as Zambians, and we have to blame ourselves. Do you understand? Right now, we talk of issues of political violence, we talk of issues of corruption, many other things. You understand? Is because of the kind of politicians we have allowed to rule us. You understand? If mediocrity begins from the top, mediocrity drops down. That's the way it is. It's like in a house. In a home, if a father, is berserk or confused, the whole family is confused, no direction. Because the father has no direction. The father doesn't know where he's taking those children. So, someone cannot say, I just got involved in politics. No, because politics is a way of life. Okay, because every day policies are made, decisions are made by politicians. So we are affected, whether I like it or not. So by nature, by whatever, even those who are a watchtower, Jehovah's Witness, they are politicians, because they are affected by the policies made by politicians. Now, the question that most people have been saying is that, Chela, you've chosen from being an advocate, a youth advocate, to being a UPND cadre. Do you understand? It's because of the mindset of a Zambian.
Right.
The mindset of a Zambian thinks that, okay, Chela is now a cadre from being an advocate. The question is, what am I advocating for? I'm advocating for quality leadership.
Right.
That's my advocacy.
Right.
You understand? So if I tell people to say, things are not okay, things are not right in our country, things are going in the wrong direction, now, I just tell people to say things are going in the right direction without telling them the alternative, then there's a problem with my advocacy. Then I'm leaving people in the midst of nowhere. It's like taking people to say, look, this is what we are going through. These are our sufferings. Okay, these are our sufferings. Then what next? Okay? What next? If these are our sufferings, but what next? So what next is now the decision that Chela Tukuta took. You understand? Now, I want to go straight to this. You know, the politics we have in this country is politics of character assassination.
Okay.
Politics of attacking someone based on where they come from.
Or is that the general outlook of politics in this country?
That's
or,
the- look.
or you are taking a particular
No,
side?
I'm just giving you an example. These are things that are happening in our country.
Right.
People have failed to vote for quality leadership because the quality leaders are always painted black by the dirty leaders.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Mm.
So, as long as you are insulting the other person, you are more of a politician than those who are not insulting back. That is the kind of politics that we have allowed in this country. I'll give an example of my president who has suffered for a long time. I will tell you this, I'm one of those people that used to attack HH. Why did I used to attack HH? Because someone told me HH is a Satanist, HH is a tribalist, HH is stingy. I never had my own encounter with the man, and I judged him based on what people told me. Okay? Now, after my own encounter, now this is, you see, God plans things in a certain way. Okay? I was arrested, right? I was in cells. Now, the people that, I want to put this on record. I have worked with the Patriotic Front, for example. Okay? For a long time with Michael Sarta, the current president, and things like that. Those are what those are the people you expect to be your friends, isn't it? But when I was there, none of those even visited me. But he is a person they called a Satanist. He is a person they've called an evil man. Took a risk, came to see me. Do you understand? So if that guy was a tribalist, would he have come to see a Bemba guy? If that guy was a Satanist, would he have come to see me? Because the Christianity states that we shall know them by their fruits. That is the measure of Christianity. By their fruits, we shall know them. Do you understand? And those fruits are that. Jesus said, when I was in prison, you visited me. When I needed water, you gave me water to drink. When I was hungry, you fed me. Those are qualities of a Christian. When I was hungry, when I was in cells, HH visited me. So where is the Satanism? Where is the tribalism? So now I'm trying to educate the Zambian people to say, look, we judge people differently because of what we hear from hearsay. You get the point? So now I have been advocating for quality leadership all this time. And after my encounter, I come to see a leader in this person who they've called a Satanist. In this person who they've called all sorts of names. And this is a guy that I see to say, wait a minute. Look at what he's doing. He's saying the youths are being abused. They are being disrespected. Respect the youth. He's standing with the youth. Now, you see, in a home, when children come to you as a father to complain, to say they want to speak to you, you don't remove money and chat them up and say, oh, daddy, we want to talk to dad. And then you say, oh, you want, no, they want to hear from you because you are the father. I reached out to Mr. Hichilema and said, look, I want to do a photo shoot with you, and I want to express myself. I posted on my social media. He responded. I spoke to him when I was doing my photo shoot with him. And the man, oh my goodness. I was like, damn it, is this what I was missing? Do you understand? Is this what I was missing? Is this what I was, I was blinded to? Because you see, perceptions and hearsays can block you from seeing the real personality of someone, because someone has been telling you. Let me give an example. If someone tells me, live radio, these people are like this, maybe that person just has their own issues with you. Okay. So for me, what I'm trying to say is that my encounter with the UPND and leadership of Mr. Hichilema, believe you me, is different from the things I've heard.
All right, wonderful. Now, quickly, maybe, Mr. Tkuta, let's get to move to this one here. I know that Zambia has got more than 50 plus, active political parties. And like from what you've said, obviously those are some of the qualities that made you probably join the UPND. Or should we say the okay, and to that person that is listening,
Yeah.
and right now I would want to follow Chela, what Chela Tukuza is saying,
Yeah.
what really drew him to join the UPND. What are some of the things that really took you to the UPND? I know that there is, like I've said, more than 50 plus
More than 50
active opposition political parties in
Yeah.
this country. Decide on UPND.
Let me tell you something.
Mhm.
I am one person who loves to think before I make a decision.
Right,
I judge.
right.
Okay, if you talk of the other, maybe you said there are 50. Maybe
Mhm.
I know of UPN, DPF, DP, whatever, right? But then for me, I don't look first before I judge a political party. I look at the candidates
Okay.
aspiring for presidency.
Mhm.
Okay, when I look at the candidates, then I'm able to say, look, what characteristics do I look for in a leader?
Mhm.
And those characteristics will trickle down to the kind of people that they're leading. Do you understand? So when you look at, for example, I'm an entrepreneur as a photographer, okay, and I know entrepreneurship. So I look at someone who's been a successful businessman, okay, never been in government, for example, okay, you understand? Not been in government, you get the point, but has been a successful businessman. Now, we have businessmen in Zambia who have been successful in their businesses because of their political affiliation. Because they know the minister, because they know the president, because they know, and they get contracts, in that, you understand? But he is, among them all, there is this person who has managed, okay, a business without, using his position in government, okay, to make money. You understand? Now, this is the kind of guy I know to say he's successful away from politics. So his aspirations to power are not that he wants to go and make money. He's already rich. The problem we have in Zambia is that we think because someone looks humble, because someone looks like they are holy, that is the measure we use for leadership. No, we should take a different direction when we measure qualities of leaders, qualities, in a leader. Do you understand? So he is a man, among them all, of them that I've seen, he is a guy who's got a house we all have seen on social media. You understand? They have tried to investigate, check corruption, mention it, what. They've tried to say, no, he sold the mines, woofy, wake away.
All right.
Do you understand? No, they have failed to back up those lies. If the Satanists, they have failed to back up those lies. So here is the person you start wondering, why are they attacking this person? Why are they so jittery against this person? There's something good in that person. When someone, let me give an example. If you're in a relationship, okay, I'll give an example of a relationship. I love giving analogies. When you're in a relationship, okay, and then you have a girlfriend, and then every time you see a girlfriend with another guy, you feel like you're like, oh, that guy is taking over now. Oh, that guy is taking over now. That sense of insecurity, you understand? Then there's something wrong. There's something, there's something wrong with you, who's feeling insecure, and there's something in that guy who you keep, now you're telling your girlfriend, no, don't go with that. That guy is bad. This guy is very evil. So what you're doing in the end, you're making your girlfriend realize to say there's something in this guy. That's why this guy is feeling jealous. So there's something in Hakainde Hichilema that's making these people uncomfortable because they know he's a straight guy. He's done his business so straight, such that if he came into power, there will be no abuse of resources. If he came into power, there will be accountability because even as rich as he is, his lifestyle is a very simple lifestyle. So we are not going to expect exaggerated dress codes, exaggerated things at the expense of the Zambian people. There will be accountability. There will be proper management of resources. Do you understand? And we are talking of priorities. When you're an entrepreneur and a business person, you look at priorities. You prioritize. So meaning, Hakainde Hichilema as a successful business person, he has prioritized certain things. He's going to prioritize the civil service. He's going to prioritize the teachers, the nurses. He's going to prioritize the youths. He knows what it means to be a youth and to empower a youth to be an entrepreneur. So he's going to create an environment that is conducive for all of us. That's the more reason why some of us in today's, you can't, as a photographer, I can't go to the bank and get a loan. Do you understand? They will tell you, cameraman, bring your documents. But Hakainde Hichilema has told us before to say, look, we are going to, make an environment for young people to do business. So that is the guy I'm looking at. And why am I thinking he's going to deliver? Because he's a sober guy.
All right, quickly now, Chela, as we get to obviously move away from you, as my final question this morning, it will be Zambia next year goes to the polls. In the past, should I say even early this year, we saw, political violence being at the helmet, of our political arena. Now, next year, Zambia goes to the polls. We know that as it is right now, probably campaigns have started indirectly. What is it that we should actually look forward to, and to your youth, because you're a youth, who are used as political violence? What is your word as we prepare for 2021?
Let me tell you what. If, for example, I'll give an example, right? I've worked with the Patriotic Front. If, I'll start from where political violence starts, isn't it? It begins when you feel insecure.
Right.
Okay? When HH, for example, wants to go out and just meet his people, okay? He just wants to go and meet his people. He can't even go to a radio station. Do you get the point? They'll have to send people to go and disturb. The insecurities. When you have leaders that are insecure, they brings confusion. That comes in confusion because they're feeling insecure. Now, if the government feels it has worked, it has performed to the expectations of the people, okay, it should condemn its cadres to say, look, don't practice violence. HH has been on record condemning violence. These articles is written about how to manage cadres, how to stop violence. He has been on board to say, look, can we come to the table and discuss how we can end political violence? I have been in PF, I have been in UPND now, and I have seen the difference. The difference is that when a certain political party is led by people that, whose educational levels and intellectual capacity is limited, you find that their way to fight intellectuals is using, because if you know you're intelligent, don't come to Chela and fight him using pangas. Let's fight intellectually. You get the point? So the point I'm trying to raise here is that there is a political party of intellectuals, of thinkers. There is some political parties who we won't mention, who's led by people who are not intellectuals. Okay? Now, those people who are intellectually incapacitated, they feel challenged when they see intelligent people talk issues. So the only way they fight is violence. So when you see political parties that are advocating for violence, just know they're down. Do you get the point? Because real intellectuals fight using their brains, issues on the table. So if, for example, Hakainde Hichilema is going to address a rally, why would you send people to say, go and disturb the rally? You have your own leaders, your own people going to address people without even face masks, without all these following the social distancing and everything else, and all in the name of, I don't know, but when your friend wants to do the same, you send people, go and attack. This is what I'm telling Zambians. Zambians, wake up. Zambians, you need to rise above politics of region. We need to rise above politics of tribalism. We need to rise above all these things. We are in the 21st century. We should not look at a person to say they come from this region or they come from that region, so I must attack this person because he's coming from this region. No. So political violence, as we go into next year's elections, it's up to you as a youth. Have you been empowered? They give you 100 kwacha to go and attack Hichilema, to go and attack Chela, go and attack whichever person. Over 100 kwacha. You want to kill. There are people who have killed, there are cadres that have killed people over 100 kwacha, over 20 kwacha. Do you understand? But youth, you have been abused for a long time. They don't give you sustainable empowerment. Woofy, wake, they just give you lies. Those people, if you have true leaders, the moment they come into power is the time they start thinking of empowering youths. Not when it's towards elections, that's when you start empowering youths. Not when it's towards elections, that's when you start looking at how are we going to help the youths. What we are saying, and what I'm saying is that it's time for the youth to rise up. I'm challenging my brothers like B-Flow. Let's come up. Let's not hide in the no, we are non-partisan. I am challenging my other brothers or sisters who have been advocating. We can't just continue advocating for a change of government. We can't just keep advocating for quality leadership. We need to belong to something that we know to say is a vehicle that is going to bring about development, that is going to bring about change, the change that we need. Because what Zambia needs is real change, not just change of, look, we are not, do you understand? We are not going to be scared. Because what has been happening is politics of intimidation. You speak, you challenge the status quo, no, all those things, no. But what we are saying is that it is time to take a side. Let's take a side. Let's take a side. Here it's Zambians against the current regime that has brought the miseries that we are going through. Zambians are suffering. The minimum is above 100 kwacha. How many people are affording that? Everything is in the hands of foreigners. So we have politicians that go into politics for selfish gain and not to save the people. And not to save the people. We want politicians that aspire to politics to save people, because politics is service to the nation. Politics is service to the people and not service to personal gain, to family gain. That's why we are seeing billboards of people putting up a billboard of a family and saying, this family is standing with you against COVID-19. That is not the kind of politics we want. We want the kind of politics that is looking at the bigger picture to say, this is not about Chela Tukuta family. This is about the whole nation. And this is why we are saying the leadership we want is that leadership that is thought leadership, not just pante leadership. Today you wake up, oh, no, can you give Bayuthi so much money? Did you budget for it? Tomorrow you just wake up, oh, can you give, because civil servants have cried to say they need salary increment. You go and say, okay, increase the salaries without even thinking through to say, where is your budget? Where is all these things? So we say we want solutions. We want a leadership that will change this country. If we have to die, we're going to die. If we have to be injured, we're going to be injured. Because what we want is leadership that looks at the interests of the youth, not using youths as tools of violence. And you as a youth, you are being used as a tool of violence. Wake up. Because you attacking your fellow youth, you attacking another person has failed to develop this country. Has violence developed this country? Violence has failed to develop this country. And this politics of no, HH sold the mines, HH is a satanist, HH should stop. We should start listening to issues. What is HH going to bring on board? What is this person going to bring on board? Those are the politics we want to see. I am a culprit, or I am a person that came from that kind of, where I told, oh, okay, HH. When I had my encounter, people will tell you to say HH is stingy. Do you understand? That's what people will tell you. HH wakaso. When I had the photo shoot with him, let me give you this example, this scenario. When I had the photo shoot with him, after the photo shoot, he says, Chela, do you have money for fuel? If a guy was stingy, would even have asked me to say, do you have money for fuel? Do you understand what I mean? A stingy guy would not even propose to say, oh, can I contribute towards the fuel? Do you get the point? Now, Zambians should stop listening to Umufi. That's why we are saying Umufi. But in the meantime, since there is now a harvest of youth empowerment, go and get it, but don't collaborate. Don't forget the sufferings that you've been through. Go and get, they will bring chitenges, they will bring whatever. Don't collaborate the problems that you have gone through. That's what we are saying. And Chela, I'm going to put myself on record to say, I don't want this regime. Believe you me, I'm not voting for PF. That's on record. Okay? Because I can't continue. The next 5 years, with this kind of problems that we are going through, we can't continue. And that's why I'm challenging every Zambian. Rally behind the right leadership.
All right. So now, are you confirming on this forum that you are a member of the UPND?
I'm a member.
You not shift camps?
No. You know, have you ever found when someone encounters Jesus, a Christian, a born again, someone who's just encountered Jesus?
You're giving an example of Jesus.
Yes, I'm giving an example.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
right.
Let me give this example. When you encounter Jesus, right? Okay. Or let me give an example of, let's say, a Muslim. I'm not saying it's a bad religion, no. Just give me an example. Someone who's coming from another religion and encounters Jesus. Okay? Encounters Jesus. And that encounter with Jesus makes a certain impact. Because they were told, Jesus is this. They are personal encounter. It's difficult to tell that person to say, Jesus does not exist. Because if, for example, you had cancer, and someone told you, believe in Jesus, and then Jesus came through and healed your cancer. If someone comes and tells you Jesus cannot do anything, you'll be like, wait a minute, you are mad, you are sick. If someone comes and tells me HH is a tribalist, I was just like, you are mad. Woof, you did.
All right.
You understand?
All right.
So there is no shifting of camps, there is no tribalism in UPND. I have been welcome. Here I am. Okay. Here I am with Anthony, my brother. Okay. Is this Anthony Hawaria? No. Is this Chela Hatukuta? No. I am Bemba. Is Bemba. We are here representing who? UPND. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
Right.
All
Isn't
right.
it? So if it was a party that was just for, as they say, Tongas, who would have had maybe, but here we are.
Great,
So,
all right, Chela. I think I'll need to leave it there because I know that you can go on and on, all right? So
Yeah.
now let me bring in Anthony. Anthony, obviously, on this forum and other forums, we know that you are a UPND member and aspiring candidate for Kabushi constituency for 2021 general elections. Of course, Tukuta did make mention of what is happening in the constituency where you wish to stand.
Yeah.
And, billboards. Is that a big issue in our political arena? Let's start our discussion like that.
Eugene, let me begin by thanking Chela here. And also want to echo his words. Because his words, like I mentioned, they're not just his own. He's speaking for millions, many millions of people in this country whose lives have been destroyed by the toxic leadership of the PF. People who want to speak for themselves, but for various reasons they cannot speak for themselves. Civil servants, our men and women in uniform, now being openly victimized by PF cadres, and are being protected by the party in power. And we want to go on record that every time a PF cadre assaults or attacks an institutional officer, they are inadvertently attacking the institution of the president and the presidency, and they enjoin us. The UPND is only a platform of change and delivering a different kind of leadership. We are not delivering this today. We are living in a free Zambia, which other people fought on the platform of unity. And this is what we are here to do now. Jela, myself, and several others. And now we want to call upon all other Zambians of good conscience, those within the circles of activism, pick a side. Because your country needs you. It is not the UPND that needs your voice. It is your country that needs you. When Zambia gets destroyed, all of these politicians that we're talking about, those within the ranks of the PF, and I'll mention them because they are within the PF, and these are the people who have been responsible for the destruction that we're witnessing in this country. They have the means and the resources to exit this country safely, whilst you and I and our children continue to suffer in a country and land of destitution, yet we live on a mountain of resources and plenty more wondrous offerings which God has been kind to give us. And this is why we need to stick together and stand together and fight for our country. Next year, again, we need to emphasize, it doesn't belong to the UPN. It doesn't belong to President Hakainde Hichilema. It doesn't belong to Tukuta. It doesn't belong to Anton Gwari. It belongs to Zambia and the Zambian people. We need and we must reclaim this country. We cannot afford another 5 years of the sort of toxicity that we have seen over the past 9 years. We'll be dead. There will be no country to call home. So this is why it's important. It is important, and we want to emphasize, can we hold together? Can we fight together? Because this is the only country that we have to call home. You mentioned the things that are happening in Kabushi, the billboards and whatnot. That is inconsequential to those of us in the UPND. We have bigger fish to fry.
Right.
So even when we talk about COVID, we are worried about the institutional capacity for government to respond. We don't want to hear, no, this family does that. This is not about families. It's about all of us. Right now, we know that when you go to levy, the only people who have the privilege of being placed on life support machines when they get hit by COVID and they go into critical care are politicians. Ordinary people are being sent home to go and die. And these are the sort of things that the UPND and President Hakainde Hichilema have been talking about. We cannot build and create a public healthcare system that only works for a small group of people. One, you cannot do that. And this is why we were deeply concerned, and we still are deeply concerned, that public resources that have been galvanized at a great expense to the future of this country, intended to go towards alleviating the COVID fight, now they're being diverted to go towards what they're calling youth empowerment programs. What kind of madness is that? When our people are dying.
I'll take you back a bit. You've mentioned to say if some patients are at Levi Manawasa University Teaching Hospital, they're found with COVID are sent home. Is it a lack of capacity to accommodate them or what? Because we've heard this government, brag to say that they've built, modern standards of hospitals across the nation.
I have always said on numerous occasions, Eugene, and the Zambians need to hear this. When you talk about a hospital, you're not talking about a building.
Right.
You can have a hospital under a tree. All that you're looking for is qualified personnel to be present, medicines to be available, critical equipment to be available, and you can have a hospital under a tree. What we have now is a laughingstock. It is a joke of a narrative by our colleagues in the PF. You cannot claim to have improved the standards and quality of healthcare in this country when it is not even fit for you. We know politicians whose wives give birth in private hospitals, expensive private hospitals paid for by taxpayers' money. I have a friend who died last week, maternal-related mortality, a young woman. Just yesterday, a physician friend of mine just confirmed that 20 women died within the course of last week, maternal mortality. I want our women who are listening to us now to recognize that in Zambia, it is no longer safe to be a mother. You get pregnant, you have every chance that you are going to die. At the hands of our public institutions that are supposed to be protecting you and protecting the life of your newly born. This has nothing to do with the competencies of our men and women, gallant men and women, putting their lives on the line to keep all of us safe under very difficult conditions. The nurses, the doctors, the lab technicians, even the cleaners, nothing to do with them. But it has everything to do with the ineptitude and the selfishness of a regime that thinks it is proper to go around flashing money rather than putting critical care into our public health institutions. My own sister on the Copper Belt has a son, 12 years old boy. He's come down with diabetes. Because of a lack of insulin in our public health institutions, they're having to look for 1,400 kwacha every month to buy the 4 bottles of insulin which they need. How many people, how many families in this country who need critical medicines like that of diabetes, insulin, who are able to afford 1,400 kwacha on a monthly basis, when your basic needs and nutrition basket is 7,300 kwacha? Nearly 4,000 kwacha more than it used to be in 2011. And you have a government that says, we have worked and we deserve another term. What a shambles. And these are the kind of things that Zambians need to think about. It is no longer safe to be a Zambian in our own country.
And so I followed the politics of Zambia, not just from the PF regime, but of course I go way back as MMD then. I think I was able to analyze things. Like you are talking today, the PF, when they were in your seats, the opposition, they also advocated saying that this government had failed at that time, which is the MMD. And they pushed the agenda until they were given a mandate to govern this nation. Let me just finish. Now we hear the UPND also saying that they are the best choice to govern this nation.
Let me tell you one. The PF were never the best choice to govern this country from the onset. Those of you who are listening to this broadcast and have read Guy Scott's book, Adventures in Zambian Politics, when you go to page 11, the last sentence of paragraph 2 on that page, Guy Scott makes a very staggering revelation. The PF's preoccupation was winning power. They never debated how they were going to govern. And in that transcript, he makes it very clear what the campaign strategy of the PF was, and still continues to be. 50% songs, 25% making promises they couldn't keep, another 25% making threats they couldn't possibly follow through with. So, Bwana, since 2011, we've been voting for a song, Don't Kubeba, in 2011. And whilst we were dancing, they were telling us more money in your pockets. They never told us how they're going to deliver that. They told us lower taxes. Can anyone call in now and tell the Zambian people what strategy the PF laid on the line, on the table, insofar as delivering lower taxes was concerned? They talked about ending corruption. Has anyone of you seen corruption in Zambia like we are witnessing before? We have multitudes of government ministers attending court over corruption charges, Bwana, unprecedented. All this when you have 12.6 million Zambians out of 18 million living on the margins of poverty. How can we be proud of ourselves? And this is why, for us in the UPND, we want to be very clear from the onset. When we talk about ending corruption, we have been very clear. President Hakainde Hichilema has been very clear, and we continue to be very clear. We have a strategy, and we have always said, number one, it is going to be absolutely zero tolerance to corruption. We cannot have individuals whose names are under criminal indictment for corruption and being in possession of proceeds suspected to be, to have arisen from criminal activities, serving in government. It's making a mockery of the values that we hold dear as a country, that you can have a government minister earning close to 600,000 US dollars on public payroll. Doing what, Bwana, in this country? No one should be able to earn that kind of money. And these are the kind of people that we're talking about. And this is why for us in the UPND we have also been categorical that once we get elected, we will proceed and institute and explain wealth orders. We do not want the Zambian people to be spending money which needs to go towards buying medicines, chasing after individuals, trying to convict them of having stolen public resources. No. With an explained wealth orders, all that the SEC and the FIC will be empowered to do is apply to the courts and say, Bwana, go to Chela Tukuta. Let him explain how he bought those 48 mansions, if at all they belong to Chela Tukuta. If Chela Tukuta fails to convince a competent court of law that he has the ability and the means to build and own 48 houses, the courts are just going to issue a seize and forfeiture order. We will take it all and dispose it for the benefit of the Zambian people. We have been very clear. When we say, the UPND doesn't even say we are going to deliver lower taxes. The UPND tells the Zambian people what it is that we plan to do with taxes. Right. We have been very clear that under the current circumstances, when the economy is dead and government has even outspent themselves, they have no more capacity to spend. Even if they wanted to spend, they can't spend. They have no more capacity to spend. This is why the UPND is saying the only latitude and space we have to revive this economy is to reform how personal taxation works and move over a period of 5 years a total of anything between $1.5 to $2 billion worth of resources from government into the hands of individuals and households, directly into the microeconomic Bwana, so that people can spend. If you give me tax concessions as an individual, of anything between, I don't know, 800 to 1,500, I'll have a bit more money to spend at the corner shop, where whatever my sits, shama fruits, no tumsalu, no tumulembo, no tuashana. If you suffocate me and take that away from me, that woman there, Padapakona, she will suffer. And when she suffers, the family consequently suffers. But ultimately, it is the economy that we're killing. And this is why we want to be clear. And on this issue, we have kept on rallying the voices of the trade unions in Zambia. That next year, the PF has no ability or capacity to give you a pay rise. They can't. There's no money. But under a UPND administration, even without going to the negotiating table, the lowest paid employee in this country will see a pay rise of 7%, average 14%, topmost 29%. We've done the numbers, real numbers. Because all that we're saying is, can we adjust the lower tax exempt bracket by 700, from 3,300 to 4,000? Can we also lower the upper tax bracket from 37.5 to 22.5 and play around with the middle tax brackets of anything between 10 to 15%? That money will go directly into the pockets of Zambians. We do not want to put money into the hands of government. By nature, governments are inefficient. And this is why the UPND and President HH continues to emphasize that the other way of beating the trap that the PF have put us into is to improve the efficiencies of how government works.
I'll divert your attention to the issue of land allocation in this country. Not too long ago, as of last week, we saw about 26 families losing their property. That is in Angwelele area there.
Yeah.
When their structures were brought down because it was believed that they built on illegal land. What land policy does the UPND have?
Let me echo the sentiments of Chela here.
Mm-hmm.
When he talked about the concept of satanism, okay? We have PF government officials right now, as we speak, illegally occupying Forest Reserve number 27, building mansions on a water aquifer against the provisions of the Environmental Management Act. They are building illegally there right now. And then you have them stand by, arms folded, in silence, protecting land allocation criminals in our local councils and within the PF regime. They go and take down the homes of ordinary, hardworking people who were duped by fraudulent operatives of government in councils and within the party in power. We think that that is unfortunate. And this is what goes to show exactly the kind of hypocritical and dreadful leadership that only seeks to serve itself that we're dealing with at the moment. So you have one set of illegality being protected and another supposedly set of illegality, in this case, perpetrated by actors of the party in power. You go and punish ordinary people in the manner that they did. But let me tell you something, and the Zambian people need to hear this. The UPND and President Hakainde Hichilema do not believe that land in this country should only be the preserve of the rich and those with money. The excessive commercialization of land at the moment, where access to land depends on one's ability to pay for it. We think in the UPND that that is a recipe for perpetuating the cycle of poverty and inequality at the most basic level. And this is why we have been very clear. One of our flagship land reforms that we are going to deliver for the Zambian people, one, is to ensure that access to land is based on an assessed needs-based basis. It is going to be based on need rather than the ability to buy. So even a teacher in this country will be able to buy, not even to buy, to access land without having to go to a microfinancing institution and borrow 50,000 at 48%, which now has them, sort of trapped in a cycle of poverty because now they're going home with nothing. So under a UPND regime and government and administration, a teacher literally on balance of need, they'll be able to access land. Okay? Mm-hmm. And we think that land being a primary form and source of capital will allow people begin to climb the property ladder. Number one. They can also use land if they want as collateral to get a small loan, maybe to start a business. They can even use that land, one, to grow some vegetables so that their families can eat. And these are some of the inequalities that the UPND is intent on redressing for the benefit of ordinary Zambians. The reason why everyone at the moment is saying land is being taken up by foreigners is because they have the most money. And the PF government are saying only people with the most money are allowed to have access to land because they can pay for it. Those of us in here, even if we needed land, because we do not have the money to pay for it, we'll get nothing. We have a named government minister today who has gotten something like 10 hectares of land, chasing off everyone in Ndola there, near the new. And there are complaints and fracas over there, over that piece of land. How can one individual be given that much land when we have people who have no place to call home? Just because he is a government minister, he's an MP, and he has the money to flaunt and lay on the table. We need to move away from that, and we need to prioritize Zambians for purposes of opportunities to access and own land for productive purposes.
Let me get to also bring in the issue of the mobile national registration exercise that is underway.
Maybe Chair wanted to say something on that issue.
Yeah, quickly, yeah.
You know, when Michael Sata founded PF, right?
Yeah.
He said it's pro-poor.
Mm.
Pro?
Poor.
Now it's pro-thieves. Okay? Pro-poor meant for the poor. Pro-thieves is now meaning professional thieves. Do you understand?
Mm.
So it's shifted from prioritizing the poor people to prioritizing the rich people. Instead of lowering the taxes, they have introduced more taxes. They have increased the tax. Do you understand? So, what my brother here is saying, you see, when you talk of from 37%, 22%, you see, you need to understand these things, right? Now, if you have the taxes, okay, once the taxes are managed properly, we are talking of people who can be able to manage the taxes for the Zambian people, who are able to manage your resources. Do you get the point? Now, if you have wrong people managing your resources, who are excited about just, look, this is what we are saying, that the leadership of Haka in the HLMA is not excited about money. Do you get the point? We have people that are excited, who are from, you know, the problem is that we vote for people, no, he looks humble, he looks poor, you know, we feel pity. You understand? Let's vote for this person. Now, you go and vote for that person. He has never seen the riches that he sees now. That person is in that seat and can just say, Ministry of Finance, Chako to bring some, and the money is here. So, the excitement, okay, our leaders have been engulfed with excitement. They see the monies, they are excited to say, all this money, the Chinese are coming, like he's talking about land. Now, in this country, if you're not a cadre, if you don't belong, if you don't know someone in government, you won't own land. That is the truth. And what we want in the country is a conducive environment where whether you belong to that political party, you are a citizen of this country, you are going to access land. The fact that you support UPND or you support this political party should not disadvantage you. What is happening right now, even when you speak out, you are a cadre. Before I even declared interest to join UPND, the fact that I was speaking against certain things, I was called a what? A UPND cadre. So everyone who's speaking against the wrongs in the country is a UPND cadre. So I said, then this political party is a political party of intellectuals and intelligent people, because anyone who is intelligent associated with it, UPND. Anyone who is not intelligent is associated with it. The other parties that we can't mention, because when we mention them.
All right. So, Anthony, I know our time is really flying so far. So now let me get your comment on the ongoing, of course, mobile national registration exercise that is going on. That has sparked a lot of debate. Your party was actually on record, quoted saying that there's some abnormalities happening with regards to the exercise. Now, let me get to hear you as you get to probably, amplify on that particular stance that your party took.
Eugene, look, for purposes of next year's general election, for us in the UPND, we think that every Zambian who is of voting age should be given an equal opportunity to be able to participate in determining the future of our country at the ballot next year. An equal opportunity. That means, Bwana, we believe that the process of issuing NRCs should not only have been continuous, it should also have been conducted in a manner that is, okay? The situation that Zambia is a clear attempt by our colleagues in the next year's general election in their favor.
Okay, how are they doing
But,
that?
but,
Mhm.
whilst the UPND continues to express concern in that regard, the UPND continues to appeal to the conscience of every citizen of this country to whom an NRC is being issued and will be issued, to look at this country as their own and not the country of PF. The decisions that we are going to make next year, by virtue of the fact that we have been issued with an NRC, will impact this country for several generations to come. So whether you are in Wapula province or in Muchinga province or in Northern province, whatever means that our colleagues in government are going to do to ensure that you get your NRC, by all means get it. It is your constitutional entitlement. But you have to remember that your duty is to your country. It is not to the PF. But we also want to appeal those in other areas of this country that we know are being strategically and systematically sidelined for purposes of issuing NRCs by the PF. We have to come out in numbers and exercise our constitutional right to stand and defend this country at the ballot. That means when that call comes for us, not just to get NRCs, but also to go out and register and vote, we do it because our lives depend on that. They will depend on that. Oh, yes, they will. But we also want to urge maximum vigilance on the part of our men and women in the civil service. You serve at the pleasure of your country, you serve at the pleasure of the Zambian people. The people who pay your salaries are not paid by the PF. Do at every turn. This project that we have picked up is for all of us, and we owe a duty of care and responsibility to the Republic of Zambia and the Zambian people. Let us do the right thing. We know that our civil servants, whether they are at the National Registration Office or they are in the police or they are nurses or teachers, they are all working under very difficult conditions, intimidation and threats. Because at any point in time, they can be seen or perceived to be anti-corruption, anti-bad leadership. They are risking their jobs. They can get fired. But we want to appeal to them that there is hope for this country. But in order for us to get to that point in time where we can begin to tap into that hope, which we all so absolutely need, we have to play our part. We have to now. The process of an election next year has already started. It has already started. If we're in the police, we have to make sure that equal opportunity is given to all political parties and political party actors to engage the electorate. That is one way of contributing towards ensuring that a free and fair election is held. People must be given a fair opportunity to reach out to the electorate and be heard.
All right.
If you are given the responsibility to issue NRCs, do it diligently. Do not go and play into the dirty tricks of our colleagues in the PF by issuing NRCs in the middle of the night to people who do not qualify for those NRCs. NRCs are people minimum age 16. If you are given the responsibility to issue NRCs, do your due diligence. For the sake of your country, for the sake of your people, do the right thing. Even under the most difficult circumstances that we are all having to operate, we still have and retain a duty of care to our country.
It's exactly, of course, 19 minutes gone past the hour of 10. Let's get to open up the phone lines. Remember that the program comes to an end at exactly 10:30. So 0977-624270 and also 0950-9479. Those are the two using to get through to us. Let's get to hear from you after this short break.
Live Issues, program discussion on issues that hinge on all sectors of development.
Health is the greatest asset any person can have. You won't trade if you've got cholera. That is, it can't just happen.
Education.
And the farmers are able to redeem their e-voucher cards right at their doorstep. Don't have to incur transport costs and all things of that sort.
Politics.
In a democracy, you respect divergent views. In a democracy, every person has got the right to assemble.
Live Issues, let's get to hear from you. 0977 670 0950 9479 are the two numbers that you're using to get through to us. Let's see if we can pick up. Good morning, you're through to Live Issues.
Good morning, panelists. This is Stephen from within Lusaka.
Stephen, we're glad to have you on the program. Please go ahead with your submission.
Thank you so much. I just want to take what the panelists to give us an opinion as regards the video that went viral yesterday from Chilabombe. A member of mine, I want to believe, Honorable Msukwa, we were receiving NRC, and there was a 10,000 kwacha that was given to actually buy food for the people that to be issued with the NRC. I want to believe as an individual that election, not an event, but a process. What does that mean to having an equal playing field for everybody as we rest those 2021? Have a blessed day.
All right, thank you so much. We appreciate your submission, sir. 0977 624270 and also 095099. I'm only picking up about 5 calls, so meaning that we do need about 4 more to go before we close the phone lines. Good morning, you're through to Live Issues.
Hello.
Yes, good morning, sir. Doing all right. Please share with us your name and where you're calling from. All right, we are delighted to have you here. What is your submission, sir? Velani, hello. Nivitani vewa sokoneza, kambani vewa sokoneza, nifani vile vewa sokoneza. Thank you so much for coming through. 0977624270. That is 0977624270. Live Issues is what you're listening to on live radio. My guest today, I do have 2 guests, all right, coming in from the United Party for National Development. I do have Anthony Walia and not forgetting Chela Tukuta. These are my 2 guests today. Good morning. You are through to Live Issues.
Good morning.
Morning. Thank you, sir.
How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you, sir. How are you?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead with your submission.
Yes, I'm very happy to hear from these guys, 2 guys. Guys, continue fighting. We are behind you. I can't say much. That is my what? Guys, continue fighting.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, we appreciate on that short and straight part on the back on the 2 gentlemen that I have in the studios. Let's bring in 2 more. The phone line 0977 624270 0950 9479, and of course that being the other line there.
Good morning, Oje.
Morning, Dr. Proud. How are you doing?
Good morning, sir.
First of all,
vakaona vari president yatwari vekata variya yoba vana zambia vakavapfumbako mwari chiroko tikajandika kumatero vari tichaka vachera yuyu wayekotokurapa mwe mukopi vari tisha tapelera pepamarambo takapika kumatero vari vikamapuroti but vari frita vari kakwa vava vachitamisa kupetu. So to come here was a very democrat. Achievement pushed the one day from 50 watch.
All right, quickly, Dr. Proud, as you conclude.
She got hit to market, take up on the rally. But to rally, you have to go to rally or that straight in a COVID. COVID is the one you get. Then the best thing that back up our rally. Chief was the Miracle World here at the committee capital 10. If Padra Navajo is the Java Iche, try to put down another get to meet the distance and the population.
Dr. Proud, we appreciate your submission. Your time is up. We're really following time. Okay, so we're really following time. When you come through, like I said, it only need to pick up about 5 calls, all right? So let's wrap up with this one here. You're through to Live Issues. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, thank you. Who do we have on the line? Savimbi, please go ahead with your submission.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Waja Anthony, good morning.
Very well, thank you, sir. How are you?
Yes, I think about nothing more. Like you have said, you know, the people are acting as if they are the ones in opposition. They are fighting in everything. Mamana, that billboard, we are fighting COVID. So it's about because the area for it for billboard. Mamana, then the same PF people, they are trying to intimidate every institution. Look at TC, it has become two-faced. Kapani Mulandu when I started investigating about Muteko, because you Mulandu, Utu Amsanga Mulandu also. Mama, the reason being easy, the PF has intimidated everything. So the Mulandu stop their life. All they want is to continue ruling. Correct. So 2021, me as a youth, I'm going to vote for a party. Now,
Well, thank you so much. That one there gets to, mark the 5 calls that I said I was going to pick up. I'll give each of you gentlemen a minute at least to respond. So I'll start with, let me start with you, Chela.
Okay, I want to start by responding to the Chilinabombo issue, where I hear that money was 10,000 kwacha. Now, this is what I want to in Gomuntu Akopala, Mfwa, radio station in Noista, Bakopala Banan, Bashmain, Wisha Iyo. Wisha Ubudeko. Now, but folks, which the money, I'm a mine. So, you're empowerment. Number, it's a 300 Tagobat. Agoka 10 pin Kasende, Nai, Mokasende. But not too kulava, I'm a problem, so much Shani, or you want to come. Because our want to have mitemwa, Umuntu Akwe Indalama, Kavio the register as a voter, calculated on a juice, Nama Banzi. Ushe Arama Banz na juice yake kala for the next 5 years mumala because ababantu bakwete plan tabakwete chimonwa no vision yakwe bati ichalo echiba isitwala kwisa bena bayisi bafe kufunye ndalama. We don't need big buyers, we need leaders in this country, not buyers.
Your minute is up, Chela. Let me get to you, Anton.
Eugene Maidonadel and kwamba okulanda ati mukibemba tusobola okweba ati epo ipunwina epo wambira okusunta nga waipufino pano wirolera okweba ati awo nalambuke mukusuntira ku manda heweyo ng'oli kukabushingwa ipunwina pa luguto market papene pakwambira okusunta ikyalo bane nakyonaika wonse tulekyula tapali nefe akoba ati tulolere na imbi 5 years abalera nda tulolere na imbi 5 years katwisha abe nabe balanda ati beyond 20 katwisha abe falanda nibade abashichenene ebo tachire kalipa ebalera nda ati tulolere bushaba fyasha abalera kuma clinics umushiri imiti babalembera ka prescription ati kashiteni umuti kandi ngwe kakushita umuti tabakwete finshi balalolera abafyasha abana balera nensera panganda akabungani 153 kwacha finshi balalolera umuntu bendo achiteko weodi pano no pa musebo filia abalaiti na yokufuma oluchero pakafika wakasuba finshi alalolera indala mashachalo baiba mukula ati yorolere another 5 years finshi fo abantu balalolera abena Zambia chinshi turelolera finshi fimbefo turefo echalo chesu chikona ike pakafika chikafike fenga Zimbabwe filafine bane ero nombatuka shibuke ishita yakulolera bane naipwa natwipununa wonse nemiro pashire fuma nokusunta tulesunta iseni nombatu ambo kwishiba twalaika kashani filonda pakti nombatunda pwe bwino the time for change bwana is 2021. We do not have another 1 year to lose. It will be a catastrophe for all of us. So I am begging the Zambian people, wherever they might be, konze fe komudi, nami papata, our duty and responsibility ni kuchalo chesu. Tekuli UPND, tekuli ba Hakainde Hichilema, tekuli ba PF, tekuli ba Edgar Lungu. When the country is at stake, we have to stand together and defend the integrity and sanctity of the Zambian Republic. The UPND platform is the only credible platform of change and hold each other accountable. This is the same figure with which we are saying we are going to hold ourselves. Governments that the UPND and HH are going to form, their government yaba UPND Fereka. It's a government for all Zambians, including our colleagues in the PF. The country must work for all of us. So nami papa tabani. Tisusunkanye tuinaka. Na tuishiwo kwa tifintu na afikosa, but tuinaka. Mu 2021 tuke sure kwebati twachinja ubuteko. Because that will be the beginning of a new dream, a new hope, and a new aspiration for all of us.
All right.
As men and women of the Republic of Zambia.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming through to the program. I know that time was not our best ally. How I wish we could go. This is the only time that is allocated to this program. But with that said, I definitely appreciate through and getting to engage with our listeners today.
Thank you, Eugene. We were pleased to be here.
All right.
For and on behalf of the Zambian people.
The time was small.
All right. So we do come to the live issues. I must say, thanks so much to you, our listeners that were listening from the. In any way, we present the radio station stance on what was being discussed here, and all the presenter stance. But those are the views of the listeners and, of course, the guests that I actually hosted on this particular platform. I'm back on Thursday from 9:05 all the way to 10:35 for another interesting edition of Live Issue.
Views, comments, and opinions expressed on this program are in no way the radio. Go green, the future we want.
Live issues, program discussion on issues that hinge on all sectors of development, health,
Food is the greatest asset any person can have. You won't trade if you've got cholera. That is